We are here with Kieran, who got 3rd place at the Battle Spirit Saga launch event. Congratulations, mate. Well done.
Thank you.
Going to be enjoying that prize money, I imagine. He bought me dinner. That's what he did with it. I guess we'll start with asking how you found the tournament. Did you enjoy the day?
Yeah, it was. I mean, yeah, I think Battle Spirits as a new game can be quite complicated for some people, but I enjoyed it. It was a good day. Ran quite smoothly, and day 2 was pretty good as well. Lost in top 4 due to time, but yeah, it is what it is, you know. So.
Well, let's go through the deck, and then we can talk about the tournament as well as we get through that. So, what did you play?
So I played Purple Control. It's kind of got 2 different playstyles, so I kind of separated the cards. But the one card that doesn't really fit into any of those 2 is just Belphegor. Sorry, this card's just cracked. Play it, pop something that's exhausted. The most important thing about this card is that 3 cores it goes to 4K, which gets around all the red's kind of hard removal. And then, yeah, during the attack step, when a 4 cost or 5 cost dies, bring it back. I think I won a game in time due to that because I had like 2 4 costs. Every time they killed one, 2 of them kept coming back, and yeah, it's a good card. But against smart opponents, you don't really pop off the when summoned effect. And also, what you have to realize is whenever you have a burst face down that has a trigger of when summoned, it will proc from this even if there is no targets. So there is a meta in this game where you don't actually play any when summons. So, bit of a weird card. The actual package, so 2 Mordreds. This kind of like the core removal package. Mordred was a card that we kind of took out a lot of the time, but we put it back in last minute. It's just another Belphegor target because when you're playing this card, you do have to kind of keep in mind the amount of 4 cost or 5 cost cards you have in the deck. This is just another 5 cost card. It catches some people off guard, but it's on entry only removes cores from exhausted spirits. And if something's exhausted, he can pop it, so people kind of played around that too much. It was okay. You need ways to remove a core, sometimes like a single core, and his last effect, when you bump up to level 2 or level 3, it removes a single core on attack declaration. And in this game, the moment you declare an effect, it resolves fully, so they can't respond to it. Then we play 3 pieces of the combo. I mean, yeah, this guy costs 6 on entry. He removes every core. He puts every single spirit on the field down to 1 core, including your own. And then when he's played at 8 costs, reduction symbols, he removes 1 core from every single spirit. And then for every spirit he kills, he gains 1 core from the void on himself, so he kind of ramps you up. Yeah, you play this, you nuke the entire board, you're having a fun time. Just obviously note, you gotta play him, you lose all your cores, you gotta put them all back onto the things, and then you play for him, because otherwise you'll blow up your own board, so just a really good combo. There is a white card that literally says, while it's on the field, cores can't be removed from her and something with a soul core, which is the hard counter to this deck. I mean, the finals going on right now, and the finals is purple-white against white. So, you know, they have that card teched in at like 3 or 4. It's such a good mainboard card that white is mainboarding it, so that kind of does ruin this deck's power, but there are some ways you can get around it. One last core removal card is Earthspider Demon. This card's crap going second. This is your best going second play. Cost 4, but you have 5 when you go second. A level 1 and level 2, when it attacks and has a soul core, you remove a core from something on the field. Basically, more than likely, turn 1, your opponent plays a spirit, it's got 1 core left. You slam this down turn 2, give it the soul core, attack, declaration, remove the core. It's just such a good tempo swing. And also it's a 4 cost for Belphegor, which is probably really important. Later in the game, it becomes a bit weaker, and that's because later in the game, the curse package kind of takes over. So we play 2 Medukes. This is a card where you first read it, the card looks broken, then you start realizing that, oh, maybe it's a bit too costly, you know, you have to put a deck around it. Honestly, you don't build a deck, you build like a hybrid deck of the whole core removal and then these cards. This card is really complicated to explain, but it has, it gives herself Blood Curse at level 2. Blood Curse is whenever it's destroyed at any time, you can get rid of a core from herself to take a core from the opponent's life into, I think, the trash?
Trash, yeah.
Yeah, into the trash, which is really, really good. And at level 3, it gives all your curse things Blood Curse during your attacks. That's the big emphasis. Basically, this threatens lethal so much. It's kind of your win con against red, really, because you can't really deal with red. But the way to counter this is to honestly just attack or block with stuff that is under the power of the thing with Blood Curse, which is the biggest counter to her. So most of the time you keep her on 4 or 5 cores. If you've got the curse board, you go to 6 cores. So really the other kind of stuff of the deck is of the other curses. Camelot Knight gains curse if he's got the soul core on him when he's attacking. Cheap dude, cool guy. I mean, it's very hard to hit under this power level, so the block curse will probably always be activating. There's some weird rulings about cards that, like, does he have curse? Because it says when he attacks, he's got curse. There's really weird rulings, but just with the rule book, it's fine.
There's a lot of very odd rulings in this game, yeah.
Yeah, there really fucking is. Oaken Pandal, sleeper card. Very sleeper card.
Facts.
From the starter deck. This is a card that, like, when you first read it, you're like, it's really overcosted. And it is overcosted. But it's got 2 reduction symbols. It has curse at level 1 and level 2. And I mean, yeah, he's got curse at level 1 as well, but he needs the soul core specifically. He doesn't. And at level 3, he reaches that 4k threshold against Burning Force or Andromeda or whatever. And again, 4 cost for Belphegors. So we are playing a few 4 costs for Belphegors. We have 2 Aglavales, kind of a last minute card as well. When he dies with the soul core, you draw a card, and at level 2 he gains curse. Big downside about this guy is that you can never get him above the Burning Force range. It does kind of, it came up in my games a little bit where you just can't get him up further on us. But he's your best turn 1 play because you've got exactly 4 cores, pay 3, put the soul core on him, pass turn, and he does got curse. And curse as a mechanic, the main reason why curse is good is because obviously it destroys anything that blocks after the battle, regardless of the power difference. And it gets around White's armor mechanic because it says to select. And you're not selecting, you're just popping it. So literally, curse can win you the white matchup basically. And then we have 3 Dragon Nagas to end off the monsters.
MVP.
This card's really fucking crazy. 3 costs, only 1 reduction. That 1 reduction can kind of suck sometimes because you're always paying at least 2 for this. But yeah, this card gains curse at level 2 and level 3 regardless. And at level 3, if it's got a soul core and attacking, you draw a card. And at level 3, it's for 4k. It's out of range of stuff. I think the meta might slowly move into just paying cards that just have more than 4k power, really. When I was testing a yellow 2-cost aggro deck, I was putting in vanillas that could reach 4k literally just to counter, like, well, the next card coming up. So that's the curse package. Really strong mechanic. Probably gonna look for more curses in the future. But moving on to spells, 3 Burning Forces. I mean, every single deck is playing this card at 3 copies, 4 copies. 5 cost, main phase effect of selecting 1 Nexus and just popping it. Crazy. Some decks really rely on the Nexuses, especially purple. Purple's got a 6 cost Nexus that just dies. And then it's got a main and flash effect of being able to choose 2 enemy spirits with 3k or less BP and destroy them. This game is a do everything as much as you can kind of game, so if there's only 1 target, you can just pop it. This card's amazing. This card's literally just meta defining. Nexus is crazy. This card's crazy. And this card's existence is why you care about getting stuff out of 3k range, quite literally. Another red card, Starblast Draw. This is a really last edition we put into the deck. The deck does have a lot of draw power, but we figured, like, it was very dependent on the opponent giving us the draw power. So we kind of started playing this card, which is 4 cost to just draw 2. If you're red, you're vibing. This is like literally a 2-cost card. It does have a burst trigger, or when your opponent plays a wind summon. And that, I will say, as the day progressed in the tournament, people knew about the whole wind summon stuff. So whenever you put a burst face down, they do kind of just play a bit differently. You can use that to bait or not. Now, very important ruling with this card is the burst trigger is to draw 2 cards, and then after you see those 2 cards, you can then pay the cost of the card to draw 2 more cards. So some people think it's pay cost straight away. No, you draw 2, and then you pay, and then you draw 2 more. It's okay. I might play 3. I think, I don't know, it's a hard card because there was a lot of games where it was kind of dead in my hand because unfortunately paying purple, you have to always pay 4, and you have to be very core management. I don't know, maybe bump it down to 3 copies or 2, I don't know. 1 off Dream Bomb. 1 off Burst just work really well. Your opponent doesn't expect them. This one in particular is great because it bounces back a Nexus on Burst trigger, and main flashes bounce back anything. If anything, I kind of wish I played more. Bouncing back the elephant in white is kind of game defining, but Enterprise can give everything to Armor White, so I don't know. But as a 1-off, it was fine. I don't know if I'll keep it as 1-off though. Whew. Best card in the game.
Flex,
Best card in the game, absolute Ice Shield. I mean, if you didn't have this card, you weren't making top card pretty much.
Can confirm.
But this card's insane. There were people on product day running around being like, I'll pay 30 for this, I'm paying 40 for this, and some people sold it for 30.
It's a rare. By the way.
As a rare,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
As the rare, like it's a rare going for 30, 40. This one, don't know how much it's going to go for, but I mean, this card's been reprinted what, like
60 times in JP, and then they got a power crapped version.
Yeah, like this card's feel like they are going to reprint this every single set.
They must.
If they don't want the game to be fucking gatekeepy, but they might not. But if they don't, they're crazy. So this card's broken. Burst effect. So obviously burst, you put it face down. When you lose life, you can trigger it. The effect is you just gain back the life, and then you can use the other effect of it, where you end the attack step after the battle. That comes up quite a lot because you don't actually have to be attacked to trigger this, you just lose a life. So it works with when Elk deals you damage, and also when Maduk deals you damage. With Block Curse, it does work like that, I believe. It just says whenever you lose a life. This card's amazing. Yeah. I know some aggro decks kind of cope at like 2 copies or less, but you're coping at that point. You need 4 to see them, that's the honest truth. Because if this card's in your hand, you're sitting there like, I just don't die next turn, full stop. Obviously, remember that you lose the game when you go to 0 straight away. So if you put this face down in the burst and you're on 1 life, and then you lose a life and you try and trigger it, you just lose the game. So 2 life is a magic number to stay at, basically. Okay, purple cards, Core Theft. Oh, what a crazy card.
Hilarious card.
This card in our deck, it started in and it went out for a bit and then we put it back in. This card's amazing. 3 symbols, so good night costing 1. You play it, you target a creature, and then you discard X number of cards, and then you remove X number of cores depending on the cards discarded. For the longest time, this was a bit of a weird ruling with the White Spirit Fooler, because this says, I believe it just says...
It says place.
Yeah, it says place the cores, not remove, and that was a bit of a weird ruling. It went into White's favor, so you can't play this and get around Fooler. But what you can know is this card, the most important thing about this card is that it sends the cores to the trash, not the reserve. Every other core removal sends it to... Well, besides Maduk, that sends it to the Void and stuff. But this is important because I had a game, I think it was my 6th round game. I did lose that game, but in game 2, he had a board of a C drum normal with 5 cores. I had 3 things on board. He's got nothing in reserve. I played Core Theft, discarded my whole hand of 5. He had no cores for Ice Shield and he scooped up the game. So you can just win the game thanks to this card. Maybe in an aggro list it might actually be quite good. I don't know, but you need the hand power to take advantage of it. Stay in the deck for sure. Core Theft. Again, another card that was in and kind of moved out. Main phase effect, 3 costs, 2 symbols. Main phase effect of choosing something that's exhausted and it loses 3 cores. And then it's got the main flash effect of being able to get something 2k. I think I used the 2k effect more than I used the main effect. Again, this kind of goes into what I was talking about with Beldegors and Mordreds. Like, opponents that are smart just know about, like, purple can deal with exhausted stuff so well, so easily. So I think that, yeah, people don't really play into Core Theft or Core Drain much, but...
It's broken when it goes off.
Yeah, it's broken when it goes off. And sometimes, in my game that I won against White in top 4, I believe, he had something with 6 cores on board. I think it was Elk. So I core drained the Elk, then played Mordred, and then it swung and it lost all its cores. So, yeah, the combo's there. It's fine. Deadly Balance.
Broken.
This is a card that people may look at and be like, why are you playing 4 copies of this card? This card's broken, but it rarely came up, I feel like. The good thing, the best thing about this card, 3 cost, main flash effect of your opponent pops something, then you pop something. Now, in a game like this where you do as much as you can, if you've got nothing on board, they still have to pop. Most important ruling with this card is this card cannot... So when you play this card, your opponent cannot select one of their things that has armor purple. So they have to choose something that does not have armor purple, which is a bit annoying when they've got the whole Enterprise Sport set up, but you can also cheese some easy wins like that. Really good card. I think 3 is the right number, personally. We started at 4, but we cut down to 3, and I think you don't change it. You keep it at 3. 3 is really good. And also, a lot of weenie aggro decks also play this because they don't care about losing their chump blockers. So, yeah. And then finally, the Nexus is, besides Sideboard, Smoke Valley. This card's amazing. 4 cost. You draw a card whenever you kill something by making it lose all its cores. That's an advantage in by itself. And the second effect is during your attack step, all your curse cards cannot be blocked by opponent spirits that has 1 core less. So that kind of works with the whole deck theme because the deck is a mix of core removal plus curse mechanic. So you can get that. That never came up in my games. But it's something my opponents had to always put more cores on their stuff than what they wanted to. So while it didn't come up, it mentally came up for my opponents. And they had to play really efficiently. Now, big note with this and any kind of effect. So when you play like the Curse Dragon, where you remove 1 core from a lot of things, you only trigger it once. so you only draw one. So if you've got one copy, of course, and you kill 3 things, you get 1 draw. This card's really good. I like it a lot. If anything, the card's really good because it's a cheap Nexus, and Nexus are just really good because they're just free core reduction for future plays. So that by itself, because the next Nexus we play in the last card in the main deck is Depths.
It's broken and it sucks at the same time.
Yeah, precisely that. There were games where I sided this out because, well, against red, this just feels bad because you play it for 6, or sometimes cheaper, but then it gets popped by Andromeda or whatever, and you lose so much tempo. Yeah, for those who don't know, it's 6 cost, 3 reduction. You draw a card every single time your opponent's card becomes exhausted, whether it's blocking or defending or side attacking. And then the level, this is the main effect. This is, so during your attack step, whenever your spirits gets blocked by an opponent's thing, you can remove 1 core at the end of the battle. So you remove 1 core from this, and then at the end of the battle, that thing just dies instantly. That is the same mechanical wording as Curse, I believe. So it gets around with purple armor and everything. You set this up with 3 cores, the white player is kind of crying inside. Unfortunately, we're in a meta where people are just playing, you know, Burning Force at 3 or 4, so it kind of like, this kind of sucks sometimes. I mean, I lost to someone, my opponent was playing purple-white control, uses all the best tools in white, all the best tools in purple, and he plays this at 4. I mean, yeah. Sometimes when you play this card, your opponent will now just play on the defensive because they don't want to give you free cards. Because this card is so good. As you said, it's good and bad at the same time.
Yeah, the worst part about it is you can never play it turn 1, so it's always a dead, like, opening hand card.
Yeah, if I see this card in my starting hand, I kind of think about mulliganing it. Yeah, thankfully we are playing, obviously, you know, we are playing Core Theft, and this lets us discard random cards from our hand. So if we got a dead card, this can kind of come up. It's been quite nice. Sideboards. 10 card sideboard in this game. 2 Medukes. You side this in for the red mirror. And also, to be fair, also white. Just any decks. This card's really good.
It's good.
The issue is, obviously, the pure curse deck isn't good. But the mixture of this kind of deck that we're doing is really, really good. And Meduke's a great card. Kind of bummed didn't win that finalist Meduke, but we'll be back. Well, I'm sure we'll be back for it anyway.
We'll be going to them.
And then we play 1 Curse Dragon and 1 Backlist inside. Might look weird, but you don't want to see this. If you see 2 of these in your opening hand, you're kind of crying because they're just such big cost things. There were a lot of games where I did side them back in, but I kind of like having only 3 in main. There's times where he's more relevant. There's times where he's more relevant. I don't know. I think 3 is fine. Some people play 4, but as I just said, like, it feels bad. Like against white, if they do a whole Fudo combo, these cards are dead, and then you'd rather have all your curse cards. So that's why this build definitely plays more curse cards than what other people's builds are playing. And one thing I'll say about this deck as well is we're playing lots of like 2-offs and like 1-offs of a lot of things. Well, not 1-offs, but more 2-offs. So the opponent doesn't really know what we're playing playsets of or what we're playing 3-offs. So the amount of people, by the way, the amount of people in the tournament that literally picked up this card to read it, crazy.
Happened to me constantly. I've ruined red players' decks.
I mean, even I had to pick up this card and, you know, had to read it. So this card's really good, but it's really well balanced, to be honest with you. It reads broken. I think my round 8 opponent yesterday, game 3, he picked up this card because he was like facing down it. He's like, this card is OP, and it reads OP. So we started 2 more Dream Bombs. I think this is more for just punishing like big plays. Like for example, if you bounce back a C-Drum after they've, you know, ascended and whatever, they kind of feel a bit bad. But then they have. The most important thing about that, by the way, against the whole C-Drum thing, is next turn, like, they may not have something to ascend over it. But this is also good against the Elephant in white because that thing is crazy. It just dies and then it gives you like 3 cores and 3 draws. There's 2 cards in the game where they have their destruction effect isn't tied to a level, which is the Elephant and then another white card. So even if you remove the Elephant's cores, it still triggers the effect, unfortunately, so you can't get around it. I sided this in a bit, it didn't really come up too much. The whole bouncing back in Nexus is kind of good for the mirror, so maybe you put more in the mirror. But they're going to just Burning Force it. Counter Sword.
Broken.
This card was a very sleeper card for a lot of us. I mean, our playtesting consisted of like, well, my playtesting was like 2 weeks. Someone in our playgroup was 2 weeks, and yours was like, what, 1 week? Or
yeah, pretty much 4 days.
Yeah, so when an opponent plays a when summoned effect, you can trigger the burst. The burst is quite literally choose any opponent's spirit on the field and then top deck it. I mean, if you've ever played a card game, you know how broken bot deck or top decking is. I play in my top 8 matchup, my opponent played C-Drum, used the whole effect, and then I flipped this up, put it to the top of their deck. They had a 2-card hand, and I knew like they're just drawing a dead card next turn. The main effect is also, by the way, so obviously you do have to pay the hard 5 cost in this deck to get the main effect off, but you just heal 1 from the void. That wins games by itself. My opponent won. My top 4 opponent won his top 8 matchup because in top 8, I mean, yesterday in day 1 tournament, time rulings was when time's declared, it's just a tie regardless of life or whatever, which kind of sucks. To be fair, it's 5 minutes and 3 rounds, and then after that, it's tie, which kind of sucks. In top 8, the rulings changed. So after the 5 minutes or 3 rounds, whoever had the highest life won. And my opponent, it's the first time a life changes. And my opponent who played his top 8 match just played this and healed 1 and just won the game. I nearly did that as well, but yeah, time stuff. This card's crazy. Like I think this card will pretty much be in everyone. This card's even a candidate for the main board, to be honest with you. Because as I said, a lot of when summoned effects do just trigger automatically. The only one that doesn't is Siege Realm. If you didn't ascend over the original Siege Realm or whatever, it doesn't even trigger, so you can't even do it. I think this card's going to be more main board stuff. And then finally, we just play one of each Nexus again. I mean, it makes sense. Like there's like for example, the white matchup. I feel like you kind of want to see this more than this. And there's some matchups where you just want to see more of this than this because it's just low cost. So I don't know. It's whatever. So that's the deck. I will give a shout out to Mr. Aibo himself and Dr. Beppis, the people I played this week with them the whole time. Funny story, we all played purple.
We all played the same list.
We literally played all the same list, pretty much 1 for 1.
Except I only had 2 ice shields.
Yeah, Aibo had 2 ice shields, and what's funny is during playtesting, I probably played purple the least. I was more spectating the most, but that spectating pays off. The deck I played the most was a 2-cost yellow, which definitively we can say that 2-cost yellow is... Well, not just yellow. Yellow in general is the worst color in the game right now.
It's pretty good.
It's rough, but I think top 4. We don't know the finals just yet, but top 4 is purple and white control, white control in the finals. Then top 4, this is third, purple control, and then the other player was a Siege Realm player. So every color but yellow was represented, I think, even in top 8. So I think that goes to show. So yeah, good game, fun game. Gonna keep playing it. Really balanced set 1, really balanced set 1 meta. So yeah, thanks.
Thanks again, and I hope to see you winning the next event.
Very soon.
Cheers. Subscribe for more Battle Spirits content. Check out Patreon, Shelling, blah blah blah. All right, see you next time. Bye.